You know what I'm doing. I'm getting ready to go live. I'm going live. I am live. Let's see. Let's see. I'm trying to find my feed. There we go. So glad that you're with us today. And I'm not speaking yet right now because I'm having problems locating. Can't find my feed. My feed disappeared on me. It disappeared. There we go. There we go. Um, I'm not saying anything yet. So, but a good evening. Thank you so much for joining us. Turn my volume up. I thought my volume was already up. Okay. Make sure my volume is up. Hey, wait a minute. I thought my volume was up already. Yeah, I'm wide open. I'm wide open. Hello, 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 hello. Thank you. So maybe some of y'all are telling me to turn my volume up. You got to turn your volume up. That's the reason why. Shalina, good evening to you. Alicia, good evening. Tabitha, hello, Tabitha. Good to see you as well. Um, hey, Gwen. Peaches! Hey, Peaches. Hey, Cynthia. Cynthia, we need to talk, Cynthia. I need your help. Glenda, good to see you. Debbie, this is kind of how I usually start off the new year. Good to see you. Good to see Tiffany. Tiffany did the great work out there in Richmond Hill. Hey, Angie from the DMV. Barbara Dolores, good to see you as well. Hey, Georgette, thank you for joining us. I don't know if I'm bad or good or bad or good. Uh, Anquan, nah. Good to see you, Valeria. Catalina, good to see you as well. Uh, hey, Saida, good to see you. Good evening. Desmond Duval, good to see you. Hey, Erica, good to see you as well. Latasha, I am doing well. And the great Michelle De Johnson, it was great to have you in town hanging out with us. Hey, Harry, my cousin Zane, good evening to you. And Rebecca, I don't know if it's I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Mary, Dr. Mary Murray, good to see you. Hey, Molly, good to see you. Cynthia, it was great to see you as well. Hey, Dave, good to see you. Eleanor and Teresa from Statesboro. Janice, hello. Angie, good to see you, Angie. Jackie, good to see you. Mary Goldwire. Hey, Miss Goldwire. Hey, look, Ms. Jones, we need to talk. Hey, Pastor Thurman Tillman, Desi Storm, good to see you. Hey, Buddy Ware, good to see you. I guess y'all like the beard. Denise, good evening to you. Linda, listen, Linda, listen. Good to see you. Thank you for joining us as well. Mari, hello. Beverly, hello. Philip, what's up, Philip? And the great Dawn Baker is on. Good to see you, Dawn Baker. Barbara Kaufman is on. That means the Kaufmans are on. Sheila, good to see you. Hey, Twiggy, good to see you as well. Rhonda, good to see you. Hey, Edie, thank you so much. Rhonda, good evening to you. And Bernice is watching from Washington State. Kim and Rhonda are on with us. Thank you. Thank you. Jorge, thank you so much. And definitely, what a very wild week. Tawana, I'm still mad with you. Hey, Kiwana, you got me some Lysol? You need to send me some so I can get my Lysol if you got it. So Brian, good to see you, Brian Magwood as well. Megan, thank you so much. Julie, hello. And Erica, that means that my Maya Giovanni is on. Hey, Maya, good to see you. Hey, Darlene, hello. Denise, hello. Oh, I'm glad y'all are liking it. Thank you. Cynthia, I need your help, Cynthia. I need your help. I need your help. Um, yes. Actually, Michelle, Nicole, we'll talk about water. Our water is actually better than the bottled water. We'll talk about that though, as well. Marie, happy New Year to you. Pamela, hello, as well. Happy Friday, Darren. Hey, my sister, my real sister, Tasha is on. Good to see you. Um, Regina, Darren Moxley, and Sean and Candace Christopher is on. I really don't care about them. That means Skylar is on, and I'm glad to see Skylar on. Bernice, hello. Hey, Bill, thank you for joining us. And Patricia, I owe you a phone call, and I got to see you, so I need to see you about something. Thank you. Sheila says the beard is sexy. Yes. Okay. All right. I'll take that. I will take it. Hey, Rita Walker Obasi, thank you so much for joining us. Hakeem, thank you. I appreciate that. Latrina Denise, thank you as well. Jorge, we will talk about that as well. And Kat, that's right. All we drink is tap water. Nicole, I'm glad you like the beard. Beverly, thank you. Marley, thank you for joining us. Cindy, thank you for joining us. And great to see the great Verdell Jones, who can sell everything. And Bruce Lieberman is on. So that means that the Liebermans are on. And Nancy, I do owe you a phone call, but I think I did call you back. Latasha, hello. And it's great to see Dr. Sadana Moss. Thank you for joining us. Yvette, thank you for joining us as well. Eugene, hey, Pastor Barney, good to see you, sir. Loto, you got something for me, don't you? You got something for me as well. Deborah, good to see you. And Brian, I'm not asking that question right now. Darren, thank you very much. Mary, thank you from Washington State. Latrell, thank you for joining us as well. Shane, all the way from DC area, Virginia. Hope you are doing well. Linda, thank you for joining us. Sylvia, stay well as well. Mary Ivy, good to see you, Mary. Tafara Brown, thank you for joining us. Cynthia, inbox me. Shirley Spears, good to see you, Shirley. Thank you. Karen, hello as well. Denise, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Sherelle, always a pleasure to see you, Sherelle. Thank you for joining us as well. Let me see where we're at so we can see whether we can move on. Paula, thank you. We are blue. We'll talk a little bit about being blue. Renee, thank you for joining us as well. Tracy, thank you for joining us. Sylvia said, if I need Lysol, if anybody needs Lysol. Michael, good to see you. Katrina, thank you for joining us on this Friday night as well. Um, Linda, it says the beer for you. Well, it's the just for men for me because I needed some help. I need some help. Lisa, thank you for joining us. Charmaine, hello. Berta, we'll talk about vaccinations. Hey, Bill, thank you. I appreciate Moon River. If you ever get a chance to go eat some good food, Moon River is a place to go. Great food as well, and so we appreciate that as well. Nicole, thank you, and well, Edie, if you move to Savannah, your man will have time for you. Brenda, good to see you. Thank you. The color is blue. Thank you. Juan, thank you so much. And we hope to keep our shots flowing here in the SAV. Again, we are so excited that you are joining us today. Um, hey, Donna, thank you so much as well. We appreciate you being here, appreciate you being with us as well. Kenya, good evening. Hey, Carla Denise, good to see you waving. Um, yeah, Jorge, yeah, Moon River is the bomb. So if you ever want to get a chance, Moon River is on the corner of Bay Street and Whitaker Street. Great food. Hey, my real cousin Lavonda on. Grandmama came down and hung out with me for a little bit. So I was happy to see her. So thank you, Nancy. I appreciate you as well. I am doing the absolute best I can. Um, so, um, well, it was an elevated iconic night tonight. That's deep. So so Loto, inbox me with your hours to tomorrow because I should have made it there tonight if it was an elevated iconic night. That means some deep things were happening. Um, Erica, happy Friday to you. Glad that Georgia is on your mind. Um, and Edie, again, all you have to do is move here, and we'll make sure that you know what's going on. Lorena, thank you so much for joining us as well. Bianca, thank you. I'll take it. I mean, Katina, good evening to you. Thank you so much for joining us. Letitia, thank you so much as well. Marley, yes, we are Savannah Strong. And Lavonda, yes, you can come down when it's all over with, not before. Jacqueline, good to see you. Hey, Michelle, thank you so much. Happy Friday to you. Terry, happy Friday to you. Annette, happy Friday to you. And I need to hear about that as well. Kiwana, um, inbox me because I'll sure forget. And congratulations to our new senators. Um, and Charlotte, thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, Georgia showed up, showed out. I'll talk a little bit about that. And so let's go ahead and get started. Again, so glad to have you, Lacey, as well. If it's Friday in Savannah, if it's Friday in Savannah during the pandemic, if it's Friday during in Savannah during the pandemic, you have no place you have to be. If it's Friday, whoa, okay. So Miss Elevator herself, Curtina Pollen is on as well, and Akeisha is on. If it's Friday in Savannah during the pandemic, thank you, Shane. Thank you, Brenda. If it's Friday in Savannah during the pandemic, Tammy, hello. Friday in Savannah during the pandemic, you have no place that you have to be. You're keeping the faith and following the science. You are here with me. This is the date night. Trinity, I'm doing well. Thank you so much for joining us. This is date night in Savannah. We call it Friday Night Live. I am so happy to have you with us this second Friday of January 2021. And what a week it has been. Hip hop, you know. Good to see you, Miss Snowden and Teresa. Oh wow, Teresa, thank you for joining us, Teresa. Long time no see. And thank you for the glasses. Yes, the glasses. And hey, baby girl April Dobbs from California all the way to Atlanta and back. Good to see you. Hey, Barbara Pinkney, thank you as well. Again, got some great things to talk about tonight. But what kind of week was this? Hey, Cynthia, what was going on this week? I mean, I don't know. I mean, now let's deal with the obvious. Obviously, um, Georgia showed an independent mind. Georgia voted, and we have in Georgia, the first African American senator, who's then and the first one from Savannah in 150 years, um, and he happened to be from Savannah, and the first Jewish American senator in Georgia. In Georgia during a time in which we had record turnout. Now, again, I'm not, to me, to be honest with you, I'm not going to sit here. I mean, you know, I don't like when people spike the ball in the end zone on me. So, hey, Scott Center, good to see you. I'm not going to get up here and do all of that. Hey, it's good to see Alderman Nick Palumbo from the 4th District, the city of Savannah, doing great work out there. Good to see you, Nick. Good to see you, Jason, as well. But again, I mean, I don't want to get up here and just be like, going through all of that, spiking the ball in the end zone, end zone celebrations. All right. I mean, Georgia came out, it was record turnout, and we have two folks that won. Okay. 2 years from now, there'll be another election. So again, I'm very, very careful about doing that because we don't want people doing that to us. So Mary Carter, thank you so much as well. What we want to do is we have to start bridging this divide because we found out, I mean, all kinds of craziness went. And we found out just how crazy this madness was. It's crazy. I mean, I'm watching. Good to see you, Dr. Harris and Jacqueline. But I'm sitting here and I'm looking at TV and I'm looking in disbelief because I can't believe. I mean, I'm thinking we were in a uh, third world country, but this was America. And these were people who broke into the United States Capitol and they were Americans. Like they had no good sense. And it still doesn't dawn on me what they were thinking about. And unfortunately, and I believe that Democrats and Republicans agree that the president of the United States threw the gasoline on the fire and egged this thing on. And so sometimes it's great tragedy that from this tragedy that all of a sudden you saw people, our Congress, Democrat and Republican, all of a sudden finding ways to work things out. And they did what they were constitutionally supposed to do, and that was to accept my vote and 300 and what one others, and ratify the president of the United States elect and the vice president of the United States elect. Um, I fully believe. I mean, I was upset that I mean, from the demonstrations that occurred in Washington. I mean, it's elephant in the room. We know that it was a much different response. I think the difference this time is America saw the difference between um, demonstrations and straight riots and how we responded for that. And so, I mean, I think, during these times, sometimes God allows us to see. And I think that Americans, regardless if you were black or white or what your religion or nationality was or what your political beliefs were, you saw that there was a difference in how these situations were handled. And so hopefully our and where was I when the pop riots? Oh, where was I? I was here in Savannah when the riots were in Portland. I wasn't in Portland, but I talked about it. So we ain't going there today. What we're not going to do is go there. So anyway, the point that hey, Pastor Hart, good to see you. So my point is that we have to get better. We have to get better, and so we will be better. And hopefully, on January 20th, turning a page will help us to be better. And yes, I hope that everybody involved with that is prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Yeah, you find them and you hold them accountable because it was insurrection, it was sedition, it was illegal, it was dangerous. So, um, you know, we'll leave it at that. Good to see you, Renee. Thank you for joining us. So I'll leave it at that. We have two new senators. We saw um, I mean, a garbage dumpster full of mess um, on Wednesday, and hopefully we know better. Hopefully we will do better. We must do better um, because these were adults, and so I was extremely disappointed by um, what I saw. So anyway, wanted to talk briefly. We got two great things I want to talk about. Um, we were on this series. We started talking about our New Year's resolutions, and we were talking about our resolution. The first resolution was to live well and not live big. And so we're going to be talking about living well and not living big today. But first, I want to talk about an opportunity for those of you here in Savannah. And so we'll go ahead and get our guest on who has not been a stranger to us. And I hope she has her camera on. Are you coming on? Come on. And yes, in COVID, people are still dying. A lot of people. A lot of people are still being infected. A lot of people. Wash your hands, wear your mask, and all those things. Good to see attorney Diane Morel McLeod on. Good to see you, ma'am. I know you're queuing up. Now, if you go, there you go. Now unmute, unmute. And if you're gonna wear the glasses, why are you looking down like that? I never understood that. Well, you're talking, but you muted. Matter of fact, leave it like that. I actually like it like that.
Was looking down because I was actually listening to you on my phone while I was connected on my laptop.
Well, thank you so much for joining me, and thank you for being a part of our Friday Night Live family.
Hello, Friday Night Live family.
That's what we call it, date night here.
Oh, it's date night. Okay.
Well, it's both. It depends. If you're a visitor to us, you're Friday Night Live. If you're with us every week, it's date night.
Okay. Okay.
So,
Excuse me just a minute.
Attorney McLeod is, where you going?
Wait a minute. The light was just giving me too much glare.
Oh, okay. I thank God. Where you going? So, Attorney McLeod is the chairperson of my Savannah Cares Task Force, Citizens Accountability and Review of Emergency Services. And this was in response to the events that happened surrounding the killings of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor, in which cities across the country was asked to be able to do a couple of things. The first thing was to review our use of force policies. Secondly, to engage the community. Third was to be able to report our findings. And then fourth was to implement reforms. And so we have a very active task force. They have been working very hard. They've already issued 12 recommendations interim, and our police department has adopted 10 of them. And those are a variety of things, and I'll publish that. It's already on my page, but again, it just shows the work when citizens and the community work together with our law enforcement. And so we're moving into the second stage of working toward police reform. And so Ms. McLeod is on to tell us about this exciting part of it. So the floor is yours, ma'am.
Thank you. This is very exciting. When you put the task force together last summer, which was in July, I think we met for the first time towards the end of July. Both you as well as the group, we were a little naive. We went in thinking that we would go in, we would look at some things, we would give you a report by maybe September, October, and we would be done. Unfortunately, it didn't work that way. And it didn't work that way because we realized that it was more than just looking at surface stuff. We needed to talk to people. We needed to look a little more in depth at what was going on with the police department. So along those lines, we invited the chief. He came and he spoke to us. He talked to us about their certifications, how they function, their org chart, how they handle investigations. So we spent about 2 hours talking with the chief about what's going on and how the department functions. The next thing we did was we asked for copies of the policies and procedures as they relate to use of force, as they relate to citizens making complaints, so that we could look to see what's going on, how do you function as a department, and what guides you. Well, once we got into that, we realized there were some things that concerned us, and we were wondering how can we make it better. Once we did that, we talked to some officers. We looked at some things from around the country, how other communities were handling use of force, what they were doing as far as reform was concerned. We also looked at talked to officers. We had an officer who came and spoke with us. He was a prior, he worked with the CIA before. He was a CIA analyst before he retired and came back to Savannah and started working with the department again. Just to kind of get an idea of what the officers are facing when they're on the street, some of their positives, some of the things they don't like, barriers that they face in doing their job effectively. So once we got done with that, well, guess what? We were in September already, and we realized we were nowhere near giving the city the final report that we thought we would give in the fall, because I think you gave us 10 to 12 weeks. Right. And we were nowhere near there. So we did the interim recommendations. When we did the interim recommendations with the department, there were some people who liked it, some who didn't. But of the 12 recommendations that we made, the police department adopted 10 of them.
Tell us about some of them.
One of them, we had a problem with officers wearing the battle uniform. And when I say the battle uniform, I'm talking about the camouflage gear. One of the things, the late Jay Blackburn, who was on our committee, and he was very, very vocal about us looking like a police state. The police officers going into these communities looking like they're soldiers, terrorizing the neighbors, because people are not sure, am I dealing with a police officer? Am I dealing with some kind of military situation here? What's going on? So one of the things we made, the recommendation we made, is that the officers shouldn't be wearing battle gear, the camouflage on a regular basis. If you're wearing it, only wear it when you're in that special operation and that operation only. Right. Police department did agree on that. One of the other recommendations we made, and this was really from talking to one of the officers, and what he told us he did was he had his own personal phone, and prior to going to a scene, when he gets a call, he just calls the complainant and finds out from the complainant, hey, what's going on? Are you in danger? You know, are you being harmed? Just getting some basic information from the complainant directly, instead of having the 911 operator transmit the information. He indicated that allows him to better prepare for the encounter when he gets to the scene. And also he has more information, so he can process it a little better once he gets there. We thought that was a great idea. That was a recommendation we made to the chief. As a result, the department did accept that, and I believe they have allocated cell phones to the various precincts for the officers to use, so that they can call the complainants when they're going on the scene. Right. One of the other concerns we heard from officers who told us that they just felt that they really didn't have time to decompress. They felt that they were running from one incident to another, and it was just all rolling into one. Sometimes it was a stolen bike, sometimes it was a low-level shoplifting, sometimes, and then they would go from there to shooting. And they just, and you know, the officer was like, and not only time to decompress, but also time to get out and be able to talk to the community. Because if we want to foster trust with the community, then the community needs to know who we are. Right. So one of the recommendations we made was that instead of having the officers going on scenes for these low-level offenses, you know, my bike was stolen out my yard, somebody broke my window, things of that nature, and responding to those type calls, have a call-in center. When we were in the pandemic, the department did it, and they did it very well. And there was really no reason why that couldn't continue. So it was our recommendation that that practice continue, so that the officers will have more time on the street, and they would also have more time to process scenes and decompress after they're dealing with some of the more serious situations that they're dealing with. So that was accepted. So it was things like that.
Very quickly about strangleholds and warning shots.
Oh, okay. So one of the other recommendations we made had to do with warning shots. The warning shots were a big deal to us, primarily because if you shoot a gun in the air, guess what? It has to come down. It's going to land somewhere. Sometimes it can ricochet. You may get lucky. Yeah, it may hit the ground and it may land in dirt and it may not go anywhere. But what if it ricochets? What if it hurts somebody? Because if it goes up, it has to come down. So our recommendation was that no, warning shots should not be used. We got some pushback from that. We got some pushback from that, from the department, from the officers, because of course they thought differently. So I do think that that's one of the situations that we're going to have further conversations with the department on. The other situation we had was use of chokeholds and strangleholds. Our recommendation as it related to that was that the officers should not use any hold that will restrict airflow, any kind of airflow to somebody's neck, chest, or head area. And so that was something that was accepted and adopted by the police department.
And so it's been removed. So we are fully in compliance with 8. Can't wait. And I think I think it was just such great work. I mean, such detailed work for the time that you and everybody put in. So now we're moving to the second stage, in which you hear from the community.
That is correct. So as we're doing this work, we've had the community, of course, they want to know, well, I have a story to tell. I thought you all wanted to know, what is this committee about? I mean, I've seen the police mistreat people, or I've seen the police, they have done something right. And I want to share that as well, because when we have the engagement with the community, it's not just the bad stuff. We want to hear some good things as well, because like I told you, the situation with the officer with the phone was a great idea. It wasn't negative. And guess what? Once it's implemented department-wide, it's going to be a great resource for officers to use as they continue to engage the community. So if you see them and they're doing something and they're doing it well, we would like to hear it. But if they're doing something and they're doing it really bad and really poorly, we want to hear about that as well, because of course we want to help the department make the changes so that you, the citizens of Savannah, has a department that reflects your core values and a department that is respectful of you and your beliefs. So along those lines, we are going to have community meetings starting on Tuesday of next week. And we are trying to hit all the major areas of the city at different times of day, so that we, for those who work, those who don't work, you can get it. On the mayor's page and on the city of Savannah's page, they have the detailed dates and time. But what we ask is that you contact us at savannahcares@savannahga.gov. And the mayor will write that in his notes section. Or you contact us at 912-650-7878 to schedule an appointment. The dates and times are as follows. Our first meeting is Tuesday, January the 12th. On that date, we will meet at 6 o'clock at the Liberty City Community Center. So if there are people in that area who want to come and share their stories and their interactions with the Savannah Police Department, please do so. And just for you to know, although it's at Liberty City Community Center, you can be anywhere in Savannah or outside of Savannah and come and share with us at that location. We are just trying to be respectful of the citizens who may have transportation issues, and we don't want location to be a barrier to you being able to share your stories. But one thing I do want you to remember is that we're only talking about Savannah Police Department. If you've encounter with Port Wentworth or Tybee or Thunderbolt, that is not within our jurisdiction, so we will not be dealing with those issues. We're only dealing with City of Savannah issues. The other thing we want you to understand is that we're only dealing with issues since the demerger. So if you had an issue when it was Savannah Chatham Police, we are not dealing with that.
And it's obvious why, right? I mean, because that's a different department. I mean, that department does not exist anymore.
Right. And so the following that, on January the 18th at 12 noon, there will be an opportunity at WW Law Community Center for people who live in that area. After that, another opportunity will be on January the 26th. Right now it's tentatively set at Southside Library, and I think the mayor is going to make sure that gets confirmed. The next date is going to be on February the 2nd, and that's going to be at Carver Community Center over in Carver Village. So if you have family or friends who live in that area who may want to come and share what's going on with us, what's going on there, feel free to do so. Make contact with us and schedule. Our last opportunity is really going to be a citywide meeting. That is going to be on February the 6th at the Civic Center. And that is going to be on that Saturday. It's going to be from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. And so if you missed any of the other meetings, you can come that Saturday. And we did it on a Saturday intentionally because some people have issues and they have barriers attending meetings during work days, getting off scheduling and things of that nature. So we did it intentionally on the 6th, which would be your last opportunity to come and speak with us to share your stories. We do believe that this is important because we hear so many, someone has a cousin, uncle, nephew, friend, sister of a friend, cousin of a friend who had a really bad encounter with police. So we hear these stories. We hear these stories in the community. Well, now we want to hear these stories so that we can do something about it. Telling your neighbor what happened and that the police treated you badly is not going to change anything. but telling us can.
And saying something about it on social media doesn't change anything either.
Right. You know, you can post it on social media all day long. It's not going to make a difference because guess what? It's not getting to the right ears. Coming to these meetings, sharing your stories with us will definitely make a difference because we have an opportunity to make recommendations to the department so that these changes can be implemented. Like I said, the last recommendations out of 12, only 2 have not been adopted, and we are definitely pushing the department on those 2. And when we hear from you all and we find out exactly what your issues are, it can be something as minor as just respect, because they do have, the officers have standards. Part of those standards is that they're supposed to be respectful to all citizens. If that's not happening, then we need to know, because we need to tell the chief that's something you really need to focus on with the officers. You know, we had one of the recommendations we made had to deal with use of profanity.
Right.
And you may, and some people may minimize it and think, oh, wow, really use of profanity, but it's a big deal, because if as a citizen and I'm encountering a police, whether I'm in the right or whether I'm in the wrong, I should not have a police officer cussing me at all. And we do understand that sometimes they get caught up in the situation that's going on, but just randomly using profanity just because they can, calling me names and things of that nature, that shouldn't happen. They should be respectful to all citizens at all times. If you're encountering that, that is definitely something that we should be made aware of, and we would like to hear from you.
We as the citizens, we're the customers. And so therefore, people use profanity toward me all the time. I don't necessarily have, as a professional, I have the responsibility to use profanity back at them. And so we recognize that law enforcement are, they are, people who serve us. We are their customers. So we'll continue pushing on that. There was a Commissioner Adams asked a question, and congratulations, Commissioner Kenneth Adams. Are there going to be virtual opportunities as well?
So yes, when you call and when you schedule, either through the phone number or through the email address, we will ask you, do you want to come in or do you want to come via virtually? That will be your option. The reason we are scheduling them is because we're going to follow COVID protocols. So we're just not going to have people just dropping in. We're going to make sure it's safe for everyone who comes in. So when you call and you schedule your appointment, you will be given the option to attend either virtually or in person.
Well, before I let you go, I promise we're going to post all of this stuff. What was the one thing? I mean, you've been in law for 30 years, certainly criminal
Really,
law.
Van? I'm not that old. But anyway, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, you are. You don't look that old, but I think you. But I mean, what surprised you going through at least this beginning process? What surprised you that you didn't know, or what's something that you learned that surprised you?
So I guess the thing that really surprised me more than anything was that the officers really were offended when we told them they shouldn't curse the citizens, because I just thought that was a given, and that was an expectation, as opposed to something to receive pushback on. And I also guess the thing that surprised me more than anything was that the chokehold issue, because we've been dealing with this chokehold issue. I mean, Radio Raheem, you remember Do the Right Thing? Radio Raheem,
man. I mean, I was thinking about that.
Right?
I mean, Radio Raheem in 1999.
That was 89, 90. So that was a long time ago when Do the Right Thing came out. Radio Raheem got killed in a chokehold. And so we have been dealing with this chokehold issue for decades. And so the fact that that's not something that's explicitly written into the policies and procedures of a police department, I found shocking and surprising.
Well, I want to thank you so much for your work you've been doing, and the interim recommendations I think are already posted on my page. If not, I will post them so everybody can read all of them. And again, we're excited and we appreciate the work that you're doing. I mean, we believe that we need the police. We just want effective policing. We want policing that is giving us our money's worth. We want policing that is responsive and responsible to the people that they serve. I
Right.
mean, I think when people say they want to defund the police, I mean, they're not talking about it
No,
literally, because
no.
I think we need police.
Well, I agree, Mayor Johnson. I mean, defund the police is really a misnomer. You
Right.
know, it doesn't mean what it says. And I really want people to get out of using that term because, one, it has a negative connotation and people start thinking of it in a certain way. And really, people who want change within the police department can't get it because they're using the wrong word. I
Right.
mean, really, what you're talking about is a reallocation of resources. I
Right.
mean, so one of the things, we're not talking about defund the department. We're saying use a call center for low-level offenses and let these officers focus on major crimes that's happening on the street.
Right.
You know,
And
they
the
shouldn't
name
have,
of that,
you know, I mean, and as a taxpayer, that is a good use of your resources and your money. So they're not spending an hour on a stolen bike because that hour is better spent looking for murderers and shooters and people who are terrorizing the streets of Savannah.
right. Well, we want to thank you so much. I know you'll be back later on in the month. We're going to be talking about juvenile crime, so I'm excited about that. Everything you wanted to know about juvenile crime, you know it, and we're going to talk about that. But again, Attorney Diane Morrell McLeod, thank you so much for the
Bye,
opportunity.
y'all. Happy New Year.
And everybody, y'all show us some love. Y'all go ahead and throw let me throw some hearts at you. Again, thank you so much. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Now I hope you're going to stay on and keep on watching.
Okay, I need to figure out how to get out of this and go back to my Facebook feed.
Oh, I'm getting ready to get you out of this. So
All right, bye-bye.
You get ready to go bye-bye, but then
Bye.
bye. See, so this is going to be exciting, and we're looking forward to what will be happening with that. So moving on, and again, we talked about it. I talked about New Year's resolutions, and this was just talking. And the first one came from somebody we love and we respect. Always happy to have her on with us. It is Friday Night Live's resident psychologist, and I mean, we're just always excited to have Dr. Bertice Berry on with us. There she go. How are you?
I am fantastic. How are you?
Good. So we were sorry we were running a little late. We were talking about helping our police department to be more effective and be more efficient to the people that they serve. And so, of course, we went over a little bit, but we had to talk about it looking forward and how do we look forward.
Absolutely, no worries.
The first, and I told the folks out of conversation with you, sitting on your couch, telling you all my problems, was in 2021 that we were going to do more than live big. We were going to live well.
Yes.
And I mean, and I think that was probably, it struck me because I know of so many people working hard, killing themselves to live big. They're on Instagram and on Facebook to live big, but they're not necessarily living well. Tell us about it.
Yeah, the question is not whether or not we're going to die. Studies show that 100% of people who are living will die.
What studies say that?
My mama, 1972. But the question becomes, are you going to live? And living is about really feeling and experiencing and being intentional in the moment. But so many of us are trying to live big. We want everybody to see what we have, what we do, even if we don't really have it. You go to the store and hold the thing like it's yours and take a picture of it so that
people
everybody
do that?
can see. Yeah, they do. So that people can see your labels and your things. And I have a friend, I lived in San Diego and I lived on the ocean. And I have a friend who knew me there and he came to visit me here and he said, oh, in California, you were living big. Now you living well. And it was true. You can smell it in the air here. There's an opportunity here for you to slow down, really feel your life, experience your life, listen to the story of somebody walking by, talk to your loved ones. But even here, people have a tendency to think it's too slow or that they need to be someplace else. They need to be someplace where they can be seen. They need to be somewhere where it's like, yes, and,
Do that again.
and yes, instead of someplace where they can actually be.
Right.
We have become a nation of doers, and we're not really doing much except for bill paying and bill delaying. So we're trying to go from this thing to this thing to this thing and catch up and pay that, to the point where when we went into lockdown, we realized we were in houses with kids that we didn't like, with spouses that we were no longer in love with. But what we had done was, I call it slicking it back, like a bad perm. You can't get in to get your hair done, so you just keep slicking it back. So we've been slicking back our problems. And with that, we pull out a credit card, we give our kids a car, we give them this, we give them that, and we're slicking back the issues of their lives, and we don't see them. And now all of these things are coming to the surface, and we're blaming COVID. And it's not COVID. It's just that you're still long enough to see what's been lying under there. It's the same thing. The reason why we're in this dual pandemic, right? We had the pandemic of coronavirus, COVID-19, and then the pandemic of the realization of systemic racism. It's not that systemic racism wasn't there. We're just realizing it.
Wow. And it's true. I mean, I was just telling my wife that the other day. I was like, I really don't like you. Um, I have to come home to you. Um, I love you, but I don't like you a whole lot.
And what did she say when she saw your beard?
She was like, well, I think I like you. I was like, oh, okay, all right, okay.
Okay, yeah.
Yes.
Yes, I'm on the news. I'm one of Georgia's top 100. Yes.
But I mean,
I've
why?
been given an honorary doctorate. Yes.
But why? I mean, but I guess we were still long enough to finally face our true and authentic self, and our true and authentic situation that we may not like.
Right. A lot of us did not like what we saw. We didn't like what we saw in the people close to us or in ourselves. And rather than really look at it and deal with it, we slide into day drinking, and all these other behaviors, and then blaming and pointing fingers. You with that mask mandate.
Oh yeah, it was all my fault. Life was good until I came up with the mask mandate, and until I canceled 2 St. Patrick's Days in a row. Everything else was perfect until I did.
Until you did that. And so rather than look at myself and say, you know what, I've had this every year. I've had Christmas every year, and we do the same thing every year. How about this year we create some new traditions? How about we really talk about what it is and what Christmas really means in this period where the revelation of Christ being born gives me an opportunity to be reborn as well. And if I'm being reborn, what do I want to be this time go round? I've been given this opportunity and I'm still here. We've lost so many beautiful people to this terrible pandemic. And rather than look at and really see this moment that we're in, because I mean, years from now, we're gonna be bragging about, I lived through COVID.
Right.
But we're not really learning through COVID. And that's what this is requiring, that we learn through it. I mean, you can do New Year, New You, or you can do, it's just tomorrow. and what are you going to do?
Well, I know you're not really a big fan of resolutions.
No.
However, we won't get into that, but we do, like you said, the difference between December 31st and January 1st is the day. And so if a person finds themselves in this first resolution, we're calling it, that, you know what, this year I'm going to commit to living well and not living big. What do you think the first step is?
The first step is to create a routine that you can do. and you add to it. So rather than if you go into the grocery store, you can tell what they're trying to tell you to do. Christmas, they've got every cake, cookie, everything right up in the front. The day after Christmas, they move that stuff somewhere else. They start putting some black eyed peas up there. Then they move all of that right away. And then they put all the diet products, and everything to do with a diet is at the front of every store. Rather than jump into, I'm going to do this and this is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to call it the I'm all resolution. I'm all resolution. Instead of doing that, say, I'm going to get up every morning and say a prayer of gratitude. And then if you can do that for 3 days, then you add something else in that day. I'm going to, I'm going to pray in the afternoon. Or if I don't pray, I'm going to send some love out to somebody. Create a routine of wellness. I have to do a routine. Self-care is not collapsing, passing out, cussing everybody out because you finally couldn't take it. And this is self-care. This is what self-care look like for me, y'all. This is what it is. No, instead of doing that, you create this routine whereby every day you're taking care of yourself, and it keeps you from exploding, right? So start by, and anything you can do 21 days, you begin to form a habit after that. So create something that is really, really doable. Set a mark, how long do I want to do this? But what we do is we go into we're doing the Daniel's fast, and we're doing it with everybody starting, you starting. And then we can't do it unless everybody's doing it with us.
Right.
No, you decide who you want to be. Living well is about spirit, mind, and body. If you don't like the word spirit, use psychosocial self. Say that 3 times. So what is the self of me? How am I going to make that better? Physically, I want my body to be better. Emotionally, I want to be better. But we are spirit living in a body, and we run and jump into these things about the physical self, never doing anything for the self.
And I think I've learned, through this, and I've known this for quite some time, and I obviously come in contact with a lot of people. There are a lot of miserable people
Yeah.
out there. They're carrying so much, whatever.
Yes.
And I was telling somebody once, there's a cost. I know you know this from being on the plane. There's a cost of extra baggage, and many people are just carrying so much baggage.
Yeah.
That goes back to their childhood or bad relationships or just wounds that never healed, and it affects them going forward because it's so much stuff holding them back.
Yeah, I say every life has a filter. It's like the filter on the dryer. There's a note in the front that says clean before each use. And if you don't clean that filter, everything gets on the new clothes coming in. You can't, and in fact, you will burn up your house if you don't clean that filter. And all kinds of things. My ex-husband got caught in my filter. I'm not even kidding you. I got married and divorced in the same year, and I had to write a country song. Seriously, it's called "If I Shot You When I Met You, I'd Be Out of Jail by Now."
Oh.
But you can't go forward with the old stuff there, and you have to process all of those things. And if you don't, then you become one of those blessed and highly favored people. And you know the ones, and you're like, how are you today? I'm blessed and highly favored. Well, tell your face, because your face doesn't seem to know. And so,
how you doing today?
Blessed and highly favored.
You look like you got gas or something.
It's all of that. And then you say, well, have a blessed day. The day and we're lying to ourselves. We're hiding behind our religiosity and acting as if saying those words makes it, that's all right. God got me. God got me. God got me.
You don't even have yourself, but God got you.
Right. But, misery doesn't just like company. This is real research. Misery likes miserable company. And if we can't find some misery, we're going to make some misery have mercy. And so we will create a situation that's miserable. I say people create drama so they can have something to star in. If they feel insignificant in their lives and everybody else seems to be happy, then, woe is me. And why y'all so happy when you know that I'm sad? Christmas is the time every year that I remember the time that I was remembering the time. And then everybody's got to feel bad with you.
Right. And then, I mean, they've drained you, and by the time it's all over, you just feel horrible yourself.
And then that you feel so bad, and that's when they start saying, but you know what you should do? You should be calling on Jesus.
Yeah.
After they brought you down.
Right. So it is a new year, pick something you can do tomorrow.
Pick something you can do right now.
One thing, and then
right now.
Turn it to 3 days.
Turn it to 3 days. And then on the third day, you've been consistent with it, add another thing. And it's not about, I'm giving up this, I'm doing this, I'm going into this big fast. I want to be more loving this year. And if you want love, you have to be more loving. Right. You start the year, this year, 2021, y'all, this is the year I'm going to get married. This is it. You're planning a wedding and you haven't become marriage material. Work on that. That you can wrap your heart around. And so a lot of these things feel like they're out of our control, but they're not. There's a lot that we can control. We can control the maintenance of the things that we already have. Some of us are asking for new things and we haven't taken care of what we have, like kids. And, I used to say to my kids when they were young, don't ask me for more toys. And the ones you have are broken.
Right.
So it's the same thing with us. Let's maintain what we have. Walk around your home and just look at it, dust it, be grateful for it, move some things around, look at them in a new way, rearrange your furniture, hang your art in different places, read one of those books you've been collecting because it sounded good.
Now, be truthful. That is your real bookcase behind you.
Yeah, this is.
And let me tell you,
this is one room of
she
books.
has read every single one of those books.
Yeah, this is one room of books. There's books.
But
all
you have
over.
read every single one of those.
Yeah,
right?
I've read many, many more. I've filled 2 Kindles. I've read many more books than these. These are just the ones that happen to get kept. And then there's other rooms in the house filled with books. We like to read.
Well, let's talk about that, because I think there's an art to reading, and I don't think people really read no more. We become much more visual.
Yeah.
And maybe we should all try to read more. Tell us about the reading.
So,
look at your earrings.
Oh, thank you. My daughter made those. Cecil.
Yes, those are Bertice berries.
It's me on an earring. She's fun. People often say to me, what should I read? And when they ask me what book they should read, I know they're not a reader, because readers have stacks of books that we haven't gotten to. And so when people ask me who I know, I ask them, what do you like? So if you want to learn about race in America or the period of enslavement, and you like ships, then there's a book called Slave Ships that it will blow your mind. So you want to go into reading from what you already enjoy, because the thing that makes a person want to read more is reading more. And I'm dyslexic, and so I'm not as fast a reader as I'd like to be. I used to be able to read 6 books a week, but then I had a head injury, and I'm happy now to get 2-3 books done. But I'm a reader. I'm a big reader. I don't have cable or antennas, so right. we would do a lot of reading.
But I mean, it creates quiet time. It creates time for you to be, to yourself, and it creates time and space away, because obviously, you have to read in quiet spaces.
Yeah. The other thing I'd recommend is I do a lot of sewing. I sew all my own clothes. So when I'm sewing, I listen to books on tape. So
right.
if you find reading difficult, then listen to a book on tape. Nothing fires the brain like reading or learning a new language. So, when people are reading and they're looking at your brain, it is firing in all kinds of cylinders because you're seeing it, your mind is processing it, you're thinking about other memories, it's opening up other stories. Reading and it's a luxury. I am embarrassed when I am at Emmaus House with the population of people who don't have homes, but they have books.
Right.
People don't have homes, but they have books. And then you go to people's homes and they don't have one book. Well, they have got a big white Bible, but it's kind of dusty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never opened either.
No.
So, and I really always appreciate the opportunity. Folks have asked all kinds of things. Somebody's asked about you singing.
Ooh,
Have
I was
asked
just saying
about your
just
social
now.
media. So on the end of this, we'll let you grace us with a song. But I kind of wanted to ask, and I talked about it in the beginning about the crazy week that this was.
Yes.
And I mean, I'm a student of history, but yet I cannot find a time in which our country or people in our country almost cannibalized within our own country. Um, and obviously, we're in a new year, almost a new presidential um, a term, and people seem all over the place. I wanted to know what your observations were and what your thoughts were about that.
Hmm. So the pandemic of 1918
Right.
was followed by an attack on East St. Louis. The riots of East St. Louis. They call them riots. They weren't riots. They slaughtered people, Black folks in the community of East St. Louis. So there are periods of time throughout the United States where people feel like they're disenfranchised. And so because they're disenfranchised, those people over there who are working hard doing what they're doing must be the cause of my ills. And so there's attacks on those folks. So my response this week, we've never seen anything like this in our lifetime, and that kind of thing. But the mayhem of the 50s and the 60s was really tumultuous. And you look back and you spend some time in the footage and you watch that and you watch how terrible it was. And it was not only people who represented the government, but people, the government itself attacking folks. So what we really need to be doing, what I did for my own heart and for my community, is I went in live with people on Dr. Bertice Berry page, and I asked them to begin to speak out loud, to type on the screen the way they wanted to see the world.
Mm-hmm.
What do you want to see? And people began to write things like more peace, harmony. I want to see better stories. I want to see stories that represent us. I want to see, and we have to see a better world to create a better world. Athletes, all top athletes spend a great deal of time visualizing themselves winning. We spend a lot of times visualizing ourselves losing. Because that's what worry is. It's a visualization of what we don't want to have happen. But we spend so much energy in what we don't want to have happen that we don't spend any time imagining what we do want to have happen. And then begin to think about how you can see that come into being. It's more than just a visual exercise. You have to prepare to win and prepare, once we win, what does winning look like? A lot of work went into you becoming mayor, into two new senators in Georgia. A lot of work went into that. But that was just the beginning. When you became mayor, it was like, whew. And then running was easy. Ruling was the thing that became hard. And so if you didn't have a plan for what you wanted to do and be once you got in that seat, then it didn't matter whether you got there. We have to talk about the world we want to see and then go about making it so. And creating those conscious communities that are productive and beautiful and like more than we are, because what we're failing to do, my ancestors saw this moment. They dreamed this moment into being.
Right.
And we're just dreaming about more stuff.
Right.
A bigger car or a bigger house, or, where are the people who are looking down the road to our children's children's children for what they can possibly be. So, for folks who got us here by imagining a better world, we can't stop doing that. And then we have to go out and be about doing it.
Well, I put peace. Somebody said change. So while you sing your song, um, let's take a moment. Go ahead and put that in the chat box. What you want to see, visualize what you want to see, and I think it's some value to writing it down. So go ahead, drop it in the chat box so that everybody can be the beneficiary of your vision for ourselves and for our community.
I love it.
So Dr. Berry, people are asking, and is it drberticeberry.com? What is your website?
The page is Dr. Bertice Berry. There's also a group page called Stories to Tell with Dr. Bertice Berry, where people go in a really loving space and they just share stories. And on my page, I share a story every single morning. There's a story that comes from my life and then it unfolds into a lesson. They're no more than, sometimes they're 8 minutes, but I try to keep them under 7. I really do. And then they go into the group page. Now the group page is a private page, but you have to join, and my niece Latoya monitors that. And so you can see the stories every morning on Dr. Bertice Berry. If you need closed caption, they're also on YouTube. They're also on Insta. And then that group page where others are sharing through story and poetry and art and music, and it is amazing.
Someone wants to know, are you on Clubhouse?
No, I am not on Clubhouse. There are too many things to keep up with right now.
So while they're doing that, Dr. Berry, I want to thank you again so much. Again, you always bring such joy to our date night. It always helps for us as we're enjoying ourselves that we put some perspective to our lives. And so you help us to center. And so as they are visualizing, somebody says they're visualizing abs. Unity, healing, and better opportunity for people of color. Leah says unity. Krista says you're a beautiful person. Thank you for being with us tonight.
Thank you.
Let's see. Lisha is clapping her hands. Carol says peace, love, joy. And Dina thanks us both. Cody says he wants a real community again.
Yes.
I'm sorry, that's Chloe. With everyone is a family and everyone's neighborhood eyes that they can count on each other. Edie says learning. Shauna wants to see peace and love. And Jen says she wants us all to understand that, she said something deep and I left it. The anger is a defense for fear and sadness and to be able to see each other's pain.
Yes.
Brenda says health, happiness, and wealth. Angelia says healing and growth. Condoleezza says loving, respectful two-parent homes, employees with respectable, caring leaders. Joanne wants
to that two-parent home, I want to see extended families again. I want the uncle, the good aunt, all of that. We need all of that.
Grandmamas and granddaddies.
Yes.
Joanne wants to know, are you seeing new patients?
No, I don't see patients, but I do have one-on-one sessions, but I don't have any space for anybody. Somebody called me the other day and said, I could pay you well. And I said, that's nice, it's free. But I don't have space.
And Desi, guess what? I'm going to blow Desi's mind. Desi says, get her to Savannah, Mr. Mayor. Desi, guess what? She's already a Savannaian. She's a part of our village. That's the greatest part about Savannah.
Yeah.
She could be anywhere in the world, and she is right here among us, living and breathing the same air we're breathing and drinking the same water, and yet in the same space. I think our space is better because she's among us.
No, that space is better because you're here. Thank you.
Thank you. Mary says she wants to see a place where people are self-motivated and money motivated. Jacqueline says to heal hearts, minds, and souls. Joan says love and understanding and unity and forgiveness.
Mm, this is powerful. I have chills. This is
Yeah.
powerful.
Rhonda says, thank you. Jeanette says, equality for all. Valeria says,
Hmm.
people to get along. Bill, we have to go to Moon River. They have the best food at Moon River. And Bill says he's inspired by you.
Oh, thank you.
And of course, the phenomenal Dawn Baker says, a world where we love all of God's people, no matter what race, background, or political beliefs. Dawn got to get deep.
Yeah. Listen, Dawn is so deep, but I was just on my live and somebody came in and said, Dr. Berry, I'm a very conservative person, but I love you so much and we're the same. And I said, that's because all Black people are the most conservative people on the planet.
Yeah. My big brother Van Kennedy says equality for him and his family. My kids deserve it.
Yes.
Donna says thank you.
Mm.
And Joan says eyes that can really see.
Woo.
Tabitha says unity and peace.
Mm.
And Barbara says learning to disagree peaceably. Brenda says hurt people should stop hurting people.
So that whole thing with hurt people, here's the thing with that. When you're really hurt, if you help people, you'll hurt less.
Mm.
It's not so much that hurt people, jerks hurt people.
Mm.
There are a lot of people, my niece Latoya is an amazing woman. She was a Navy corpsman. Corpsman is the medic, and she was a general's medic, and she had to stand guard when prisoners were being tortured to make sure that they got the medical attention that they needed. And that hurt her. And she is one of the most loving people on the planet. And if you take your hurt and process it into love or process it through love, you will be one of the people who bring about justice in the land.
Wow. Joy says praying grandmamas.
Yes. Them grandmamas who all day long, baby, I'm praying for you. When are we going to be that?
My grandma just said, you do that. Is that a grandma thing?
It's a grandma thing. They be sitting and rubbing their knees. Instead, we up there, we grandmama's trying to wear the dress that the daughter has on, that the granddaughter has on, and go to the club with the granddaughter. No, sit down and go pray.
Glenwood says that I'm starting my reading journey tonight with books on tape. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I love you. Start with The Haunting of Hip Hop. I happen to have written it, but it's a wonderful book. I write, and it's on tape. It's available on tape. It's called The Haunting of Hip Hop. And for some reason, I feel like you'll like it.
Oh, you don't really find that, right? Let me see. Hip hop. There it is.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna put that in here. The Haunting, and yes, guess who it's by? And how many books have you written to this point?
I've written under my name 11. I've ghostwritten 30.
Wow. So 41 books.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. All right, here it is. I just posted it. So
yeah, it's weird. I get a impression with people sometimes like, what do you want to read? And for some reason, I feel like The Haunting of Hip Hop would be a good read for him.
Dawn says the value of people over money and politics. Loto says love and life. Pastor Thurman Tillman, I think you preached at his church once.
I love
so
Pastor
much
Tillman.
Sharing what God has placed in you. You are truly an encourager. We need more people to encourage one another. That's his desire for Savannah.
Mm-hmm. I was just thinking today about Howard Thurman, who Pastor Tillman often references. Howard Thurman was a mystic and the mentor of Dr. Martin Luther King. And he said, we have to get still. In fact, I have the quote somewhere here. If I can find it, I have the same notebook with me. He said, be still and listen for the sound of the genuine. Let me find the exact quote because it is powerful. He said, there is something in every one of you that waits and listens for the sound of the genuine in yourself. It is the only true guide you will ever have. And if you cannot hear it, you will all your life spend your days on the ends of strings that somebody else is pulling.
Wow.
Sound of the genuine. just, being in that.
Wow. And then one final one. Mildred says, say I love you and really mean it. Say I'm sorry and really mean it. Apologies that ma- manages into change behavior.
So here's the thing with I'm sorry. Sometimes, my mother was an abusive alcoholic. And by the time she was ready to change her life, because I left, right? She was ready to change her life. She told me, and as most of us Christians would do, I was like, well, prove it to me. And that's not what we're supposed to do, right? But I did because I had been harmed. And every time it felt like I went back into it, I got harmed again. And my mother lived her life in such a way that you could only see God through her. And she transformed in the most loving being. But she said to me, the reason that I was able to change was because you were able to forgive.
Mm,
And so she taught me that forgiveness is not letting yourself off the hook. It's about getting off the hook that somebody else put you on. So I would rather hear I love you than I'm sorry, because I love you means that. Some people need it. They need I'm sorry, deeply sorry. I want to do better. But we have to be willing to embrace it when it comes, and just, you know, accepting forgiveness doesn't mean putting yourself back in the path of harm. It doesn't. Sometimes it means you never interact with that person again. But
right.
you can be free in accepting, it means foregoing the need for revenge or restitution. I am looking for my 40 acres and a mule, so that's not my point. But 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 I don't need you to do anything else but love better and love somebody else better, especially if you like an ex. I'll forgive you, but don't come back over here.
Well, well, again, I mean, I know I kept you way beyond the time I was supposed to.
I'm getting ready to sing, man. I'm
I
getting ready
mean,
to sing.
look, they want you to sing, so we're gonna close this out and have you to sing. So we appreciate you, but let's you know give us go ahead, do you. Let them use you.
Okay. If I can help. No, somebody. How can we have peace in the Middle East if there's none at home? How can we have understanding in the land if there is none for the woman, and there is none for the man? Well, there's too much talk about it, and too many walk without it. Tell me, where is the love? Where is the God in your life? To my left, a woman abuses her children. To my right, somebody's beating their wife. Tell me, where is love? Where is the God in your life? How can we heal the wounds of the world if we cannot heal our own? Where does this peace on earth begin if not in your home?
Wow. Wow. Amazing. Well, that's a great way for us to begin our new year. Let there be peace on earth. Let it begin with me in my house. And if
Yes,
everybody does well for them in their house and it expands, that's how we get peace on earth. It's not
that's
from the
how we do
outside
it.
in, it's from the inside out. Dr. Bertice Berry, thank you so much again. Um, If you love her as much as I do, then you will go to Facebook in addition to liking my page now, which you should already like.
Like his page, like his page.
Yeah, please like my page, but then also please like Dr. Bertice Berry. And again, the stories if you want to get every morning, get your daily dose of Bertice. The stories are absolutely phenomenal. So we thank you again so much. I'm glad to have you as a community. Glad to be able to call you my sister and my friend, and I'm glad that I'm able to put my head on your proverbial couch and gain some of your wisdom when I'm ready to.
Anytime. Well, Mayor Van Johnson, we are so very fortunate. You don't need me to blow your head up. You should know this. We are very, very fortunate to have you here. We have gone through one of the worst times anybody has seen in our lifetime, and you have ushered us through. It feels like the wrong thing to people who benefit from these festivals and things, but you have kept us safe when all around us is falling. And I'm so very, very grateful for you. And Savannah's a better place because you're here. And keep on opening up that table, putting in more leaves, including more people, rolling us up. Keep on doing it. Yeah. Yes.
It was a year ago. And I mean, and you were on the stage, you were in the middle of that moment. Who would have thought?
Who would have thought? I would have stayed longer if I had known I wasn't going to be able to go out no more.
Right. I mean, I would have. Me too. I mean, we'd have turned tell Donnie to sing a couple more songs, and we're just gonna hang out a little bit longer.
You know what I'm saying? You could have had some other singers in there too.
Oh yeah. Oh well, we did. I mean, look, we were told, everybody just do 5 songs because we know. I think that was almost one of the last times I was actually in the Civic Center with a crowd.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. So, but no, thank you. And again, it's always great to have Dr. Bertice Berry on our Friday date night. And to all of you, thank you so much.
They were amazing. All of their visions for the future. I have chills.
We love it. We love it. We love it. And so, we'll be better. We'll get better. We'll do better, but we're going to do it together.
Yes,
don't leave me, and I'm not going to leave you. We're Savannah Strong because we show Savannah love, and that's what we do. That's how we do it. And things can go crazy in Washington, D.C., but things are going to be all right here in Savannah, Georgia.
Amen. Amen. Thank you.
Thank y'all. Thank you.
I love you.
Love you. Love you more. That's right. She told me she tells me that I'm loved, and so she'll tell you she loves you. So everybody needs to hear that every now and then.
Everybody needs to hear it every day.
Okay, well then you need to call me every day and tell me. I'm gonna give you the exact time that you need to call and tell me.
I will.
And some days there's a particular time I need you to call me and tell me that. I'm gonna pick up the phone. I'm gonna just say, okay, and then we're gonna call Dawn at about 11:03 on the news and keep calling her phone. And if she pick up, we got.
You know what? You want us to be Mahalia Jackson to Martin Luther King, and
right?
And he would just call and say, "Sing it to me, precious Lord." Take my hand, lead me on, and let me stay.
Oh boy! I wish I forgot I would have played Ez tonight for you. Yeah. So I'll get that in. I'll probably play it tomorrow morning.
I'm gonna call you tomorrow. Precious Lord.
You'll probably call me singing something else, but then.
Yes. Take my hand.
All right, y'all. Thank y'all so much.
Lead me on and let me stand.
Thank you for joining us for Friday Night Live Date Night. We will see you next Friday. As they say, if the good Lord is willing and the creek doesn't rise.
And the creek don't rise.
That's right. Thank you. Thank you, Dr.
Love
Bertice
you.
Berry.
I
Bye-bye,
love you
everybody.
all. Love you.
Love you too.